and welcome back to Football Made Simple. From the 14-15 season to the 16-17 season, Luis Enrique took charge of FC Barcelona. Despite being a former Barcelona player and Barca B manager, there were mixed reactions when he took charge of the side. However, during his 3-year reign, he won La Liga twice, every Copa del Rey, the UEFA Super Cup, Club World Cup, and is the last Barcelona manager to lift the Champions League. But what tactics allowed his side to thrive like this? Let's take a closer look. And if you want to keep up with Barcelona or any club or player of your choosing, check out our video sponsor, the OneFootball app. It's a great free app getting you news, stats, and more free through the link in the description below. Luis Enrique came into the club at a difficult time. It was the time when the golden generation was just beginning to age out, with Victor Valdés and Puyol having just been shown the door. In addition, other mainstays like Alves, Xavi and Iniesta were getting up there in age, so transfers were needed to strengthen the side. During his 3-year stint, a few of the key incomings include Ter Stegen, Rakitic, Bravo, Suarez, Mathieu and Umtiti. Let's dig into the patterns of play, and note that during the 3 seasons, his tactics evolved and different players came in, so this will be an amalgamation of his major traits. Throughout his 3 seasons, he generally stuck to the 4-3-3, although at times in his final season, he experimented with the 3-4-3. Let's start by looking at the build-up play. Under Enrique, Barcelona was still a possession-heavy side, having over 60% possession in all 3 of his seasons. And their build-up shape was adaptable, depending on how the opposition looked to set up. When opponents were determined to sit deeper in a block, Barcelona still used a lot of their tiki-taka patterns, moving the ball slowly up the pitch by utilizing their midfield and trying to shift the opposition to create gaps in their shape. But under Enrique, the central midfielders were not as influential as they were under previous managers. This is because in prior years, Messi aside, the 3 central midfielders were the best players in the team in Busquets, Xavi and Iniesta. However, Xavi and Iniesta were getting on in age, with Rakitic soon replacing Xavi, meaning that the team's best players were now high up the pitch in the famous front 3, MSN. So, quicker build-up play became essential to get the ball to the front 3 as quickly as possible so that they have as much time on the ball as possible. So, where before the ball went from the centre-backs to the central midfielders, who rotated it amongst themselves, we now saw them utilize the wide regions much more, often shifting the ball from centre-backs to the full-backs, who remained deeper as build-up options, and they would then progress it up the line to their respective winger. Or, if the ball did go through the central midfield, it wouldn't spend much time there, being quickly spread out to the wings. This quick play down the flanks often meant that, first of all, they could bypass the opposition midfield before they had time to form a second block in front of the back 4. In addition, it increased the likelihood of both Messi and Neymar being one-on-one with their man, which was bad news for any opposition manager. Naturally, the fullbacks would look to push high up the pitch to support, so having the 3 central midfielders slightly deeper rather than high creating chances meant that they had a better chance of stopping the transitions into the wide areas. And higher up the pitch, Barcelona had several ways to break the opposition down. But it should be noted that in the early stages, MSN didn't quite click. Messi was still very much a false 9 and was unhappy at the prospect of moving to the wing. In fact, initially, it was Suarez who had to play as the wide forward, and he was rather ineffective from this position. At points, there even seemed to be tension between the now best friends. It was only when Messi accepted a role out wide that things changed. The right-hand side became particularly dangerous. Messi still tended to drift infield, and Alves relished the opportunity to push high up the pitch. The 2 of them could combine in tight spaces to create space for Alves on the flanks to then look for the cutbacks. However, even Rakitic also tended to push out wide outside of Messi, so that they could create a complete overload here. If the opposition didn't adapt, Barca could cut through them easily to create chances from out wide, or shooting opportunities on the inside right from either Messi or Rakitic. So this often meant that teams would be dragged across the pitch to deal with this, which would free space on the left-hand side. The switch was a crucial element, with Neymar often being found, and one-on-one, he constantly attacked his fullback, either on the outside to look for the cross, or cutting infield to then get his shot off. At times before this switch, Neymar also moved infield to drive the fullback further in, and this allowed Jordi Alba high, and we saw the beginning of the Messi-Alba relationship, with Messi often switching it wide to Alba before moving into the box to look for the finish. And on the left-hand side, we saw similar patterns emerge at times. Naturally, Neymar didn't always hug the flank, and would look to receive the ball in central regions from where it was easier to make the difference. Iniesta from his central role was also comfortable moving into the wider regions to compensate when necessary. But on the left, they were much more dependent on Jordi Alba, who was happy getting up and down the pitch. So Iniesta could remain central, opening up a potential outlet on the flanks. But rather than unpredictability being the factor that made the difference for them in the final third, it was sheer quality that did. Before the match, opposition players may know what Suarez wants to do, but it doesn't mean they can stop it. Players may know what Neymar wants to do, but it doesn't mean they can stop it. And they may know what Messi intends to do, but they can't stop it. So at times, the individual quality of the front three was enough to turn games on their own. Now, looking at the defensive end of things. Barcelona in the first couple of seasons looked to press high up. This is because the front three didn't tend to track back, so dropping deep would have meant that they were defending with only 7. And they were incredibly effective in the first 2 seasons, winning the ball high up with a passes per defensive action of under 6. But of course, at times, when the press was broken, they had to drop deep. As discussed, the front three stayed high up the pitch, and in some ways this was a form of defending, as their quality is such that opponents often had to leave at least one more fullback than usual to help defend. And on the break they were dangerous, as once again, they didn't look to begin a phase of possession, and instead looked for the direct attack, with Messi often coming deep to collect while Suarez moved right. As they drove up the pitch, he would have options to either side to attack, and more often than not, they made the right choices. During his time as manager, Enrique had to deal with an aging squad, clashes with Messi, as well as constant criticism from some fans and media about abandoning the Barcelona style of play. But 9 trophies in 3 years speaks for itself, and looking back at this side from present day shows just how good a job he did. But what do you make of Enrique's Barcelona? What other tactics did he employ? Drop them down below. As always, a big shout out to everyone who's been able to support FMS on Patreon. If you want to get early access to videos and exclusive videos whilst helping to support the channel, check out patreon.com/footballmadesimple. And if you're unable to, not a problem at all. A like on the video would go a long way. I hope you enjoyed the video, leave a like if you did. And if you want to support on Patreon, check out patreon.com/footballmadesimple. And a big thanks to Rohit, Nader, Eddie Usman, and none other than Miguel for being a part of the Ultra tier. But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.